Alright, so now that we got all of the main rules out of the way, let's go into actual training and how we do it, a step-by-step process. Like we talked about before in our previous videos, the main goal of this training program is to make sure all of our instructors are training the exact same way. One thing that I never want to hear in my training yard is, oh, I like this instructor taught me this way, or I don't like this instructor because this instructor taught me that way. We're not training your way, you're going to be training the Driving Academy way, and here it is. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is how to properly train pre-trip inspection. Okay, so when it comes to the pre-trip inspection, this is the hardest part of the test for most people. Now, like we talked about before, 80% of the people who take this test, when you're talking about nationwide or statewide numbers, fail this test the first time. Most of those failures are due to pre-trip inspection. So it is our job as instructors to really hone in and to really tell the student the importance of the pre-trip inspection. Alright, so that's what we're going to be focused on first. Now, before you ever interact with a student with the truck on the pre-trip inspection, they must have the pre-trip inspection script with them, which means they must have gone through the exercise already, watching the training videos where they're going to be highlighting section 11 and underlining section 11. It looks a little bit something like this. So as you can see here, we highlighted the pre-trip inspection in many different colors, in 5 different colors in fact, for a reason. To kind of give you the theory behind why we did it this way is adults learn through a method called clumping. So to kind of give you the background behind it is when we clump things together that have to do with one another. For instance, we have 5 colors, green, yellow, blue, pink, and orange. Green, we say that that's everything underneath the hood. Right? So we're not talking about the engine specifically, we're talking about underneath the hood. So when the students actually learn those items together, that makes it a lot easier for them to retain the information. Okay? When we're talking about yellow, we're talking about all the wheels, suspension, and the brakes. So again, those items are all together. So if you follow the curriculum that was designed for that individual student, you're going to see on that curriculum itself when they should be focusing on the green, the yellow, the pink, the blue, or the orange. Now, of course, if they are in the Class B program, that means they're not going to have any kind of pink or orange colors in their pre-trip inspection because those items are not required for the Class B vehicle. Alright, so that's to kind of give you the theory behind it, and again, we want to make sure that they're following the book itself. The book comes from Motor Vehicles, we're not the one who wrote the book, so we do not share our opinion on this. DMV is giving us all the answers, so we want to let the students know that these are the answers that they must go for. Alright, so how do we actually train when it comes to this? I want you guys to understand that our main job here when it comes to the pre-trip inspection is to show the students where the items are. Alright, so if a student goes to a road test and fails because they have no idea where the alternator is, that's on us. But if the student goes to the test and has no idea what to say about the alternator, that is on them. But we have to prepare them for that, right? So we're not here to hold their hand the whole time. We're here to give advice and to give structure so then they can succeed, because that is our job, to help people get on the road to freedom. So how do we do this in a structured way? So if you're going to follow that individual's curriculum, you're going to see exactly where they should be during the training process. If pre-trip pops up on that curriculum for that day, depending on the color, it's going to be the exact same way of training. Pretty much you're going to walk the student up to the part of the truck. For instance, say we're talking about the green section, which is underneath the hood. That is the first section that we're going to be going over with the student. What we're going to have to do from there is simply this. Okay, here you go, Mr. Student. You're going to give them the packet. Make sure that they have the packet already. Again, do not train unless they have this packet already. And you're then just going to ask one simple question. So, what is the first thing in green? They're going to read it to you. Leaks and hoses. Okay? So you're going to point out where all the hoses and the leaks are. So you're going to point on the ground. Then you're going to ask them one simple question. Read it, please. Read what's underlined. So they're going to say, okay, there are no puddles on the ground. Correct. There are no dripping fluid on the underside of the engine or transmission. That's also correct. And all my hoses are in good condition and not leaking. And it's just that simple. If they get that wrong, then you're going to have just to repeat them and show them in the book exactly where you want them to go. You're going to follow this along through every single item inside this book here. Alright, so that's very important. That's kind of the theory behind it. On the next video, you're going to see a live demonstration of myself training a student on exactly how I want you to train the entire pre-trip inspection.